want a lice in your mouth, they don't want you talk. Sedition is a wicked law. Big and vexation law. The reason for this wicked law, they want to frighten, they want you to hush your craw. They want a lice in your mouth, they don't want we talk. They want a lice in your mouth, they don't want we talk. Time since 1920 down the line. We say this law is a waste of time. Soon as we say it's a law looking for a crime. If a man wants to say about politics.
3Canal Kaiso show is happening at Queen's Hall, coming up very soon, in fact, coming up this weekend, going all the way till Tuesday, the 25th of February. And joining us in studio is no stranger to the studio itself, speaking about Mr. Wendall Manwarren. Good morning.
Good morning, Natasha. Thanks for having me
It's
again.
a pleasure to have you. How are you doing this morning?
I'm good, you know.
Yeah?
Not much sleep, but good.
Well, I mean, it's the season, as we say, right?
It's here. We're in the belly of the beast right now, as far as we're concerned, for the show starting on the weekend.
You just said it so aptly there. We're in the belly of the beast.
Belly of the beast.
Let's talk about the preparation for the show. How is it going so far?
It's going great. Last night was very, very good. We had the first time the whole band got together and all the backup singers. And the sound that emerged was incredible. And the ease with which we got through the first half of the program was amazing. Because we have a totally new band. Well, half the band is new, really. And, you know, we took out the MPC, which was a big part of what we did for years, that rhythm machine. And so everything is much more organic now. We have Tamba Gwindy on percussion. We have Nick Thomas on drums. We have two guitarists, Kiwan Landry Smith and Dean Williams, Simon Mendoza on keyboards, and our brass section led by Tony Paul. And 6 backup singers, so trying to create that big band feel, for that tent feel.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful.
I mean, it sounds wonderful. I can only imagine what it's going to be like on the nights themselves when you're running. But how does it feel energetically with this shift now? How do the performances feel? How does the community feel in general?
I'm glad you say energy, because the energy is so much better. We don't have the Juve to study. You don't have the two running on parallel tracks for so long, you know. And just doing the show is enough, actually, is enough to keep us very engaged and very busy, but not like crazy out of our mind, wanting to collapse.
Yeah.
So feeling good about the energy. And as I say, the ease with which everything unfolded last night augurs well for a nice, smooth run.
Yeah, definitely a blessing. You know, when the rehearsals start to go good, I mean, you may have a little, in between.
Yeah, always. I mean, I expect that, you know. I mean, everything can go smooth. Like we have some actors and they're still struggling with their lines. So,
Yeah, well.
that's only because I get them the day before.
I'm sure they'll get it in time. You mentioned something specifically about years, and you've been the voice of, for some of us, the voice of reason for years as well. And interestingly enough, your music, of course, continues to just showcase what's going on and how we are feeling on the ground specifically. How do you feel about the fact that you've been doing this for years, but you still kind of see the same themes recurring?
Right.
How does that feel to you, just you as a person?
Well, you know, the more things change, the more they stay the same in a sense.
Yeah.
But you can see change happening, but you can also see change in a positive direction, and also some kind of change where we kind of backing back and not making sense to me, having seen certain things happen. Like in the carnival, the re-emergence of the rope makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
You know, I've spoken about that repeatedly, so until it goes away, I'll probably keep speaking about it. You know, until people look at it. Like one of the reasons I find it so peculiar is when the rope started to become a big part of the Juve.
Yeah.
And it just made no sense to me at all. So we just want to take a little time and pull back and look at it. And I don't mind being that person that looks at things and says, what's going on? You know? And I think sometimes when you question, you're making a statement. You know, it's just the act of questioning is like being curious about what's happening in the space. I think that's important.
Yeah. It is important, and that's the only way we're going to see change, hopefully, more than anything
I mean,
else.
we have to. Change doesn't happen like it's a switch on a light, right? It's constant work, and then you have crazy things happen, like Trump comes back into power and change is forced on you, and you have to respond to that change, you know? And one of the ways that we do that is to use the music, use the vibes that we have, the means that we have to not go crazy, to find expression, to give voice to something, and hook up with fellas like Raucus and say, hey, let's make some music. You know, and I have to credit Raucus for his role in the making of the music this year, you know. It's not a secret that we've worked over the years, and we have a great collaborative history and a good creative history. So out of conversation, we make music. Sedition was one of them songs that came out of conversation, out of looking at Calypso, out of listening to old Calypso, you know.
Definitely. All right. So as you mentioned, I mean, working over the years as well, we know your shows over the years. How have they evolved over the years for you personally as an artist and then as a group?
Our shows have been quite varied, you know. I mean, this is our 21st show, so that's something to pinch ourselves about. When we first started, we actually ran for 21 nights, which is unprecedented. Now we're trying a 4-night run, and even that is a bit of a challenge to push for 4 nights, you know, because you could see that's one of the big changes we've seen, where there was a time when we were the only show in town, in a sense. Now everybody has a show. Yeah. And that's great. You know, Kes was just on. You know, when Kes wanted to do the show, he said, we talk about how to do a show. It's all good. And now he's doing a show, and it's way bigger than our show, as it should be, because he's in a different arena from us. And we're very comfortable in the space that we're in. We prefer to work in the hall, where it's more controlled, where it's more opportunity to engage audience directly, and it's not hot and sweaty and frenetic. And you have to discover where your zone is too. You know, sometimes, like we got a hit, and we ended up in the soca zone for 5 years, and then we say, nah, this is not really our zone. Yeah. And then we started to carve out our own space until we made our own show.
Yeah. And I mean, you have carved out your own space, that is for sure. I mean, and all generations are touched. And most social media platforms you go onto, you're going to be able to actually see the way that you have progressed over the years and still remain relevant. Now, the fact that you have 4 shows coming up is, as you said, no easy feat.
No easy feat, no.
Now, so are we looking forward to the same show every night, or is it going to be like something different going to happen?
Well, I mean, there's always room for spontaneity, and when you have actors like Kimmy, Stout Robinson, and Marvin Dowridge, and Arnold Penny Goindam, and Cecilia Salazar, anything can happen. Boy. So we have to really try and keep a tight rein on them. But that's what they're there for, because Carnival is Bacchanal.
Of course.
So we're presenting what we say we reinvent the tent, and we have some people who come in to see if we really up to scratch as per a tent. And that's where the humor is going to come. And we don't mind ponging ourselves. We don't mind people taking shots at us, you know, and we might take some shots at other people because it's all in the spirit of Pekong. But musically, it's to just present a nice, lush, Kaiso flavored evening, taking the rap soul that we have and swinging it to the Kaiso beat, because for me, it's just a question of how you swing it and the texture that you get, you know, when you have all that live percussion, and like watching Tamba last night, beat with one hand and shake with the next hand, and it's like, where all this rhythm coming from one human being is phenomenal. And Simon especially flew back in, Simon Mendoza, he's gone back to Venezuela, came back just to deal with the musical direction, and he doing it last night. I was like, we ready? Like, we do our whole first act without really cracking a sweat.
Wow.
It's like, wow.
I mean, but it's expected, though.
But we have cutters, you know, them hornmen just come sit down behind the score. I was like, okay, that's how it's go. I walk easy, this wrongs. I just look in the dress up and come on the stage and do my thing. But I want to acknowledge that one of the things we will be having will be opening acts.
Okay.
And that intergenerational connection for us is very important. Young lady by the name of Just Liz is doing an incredible song called Zinge with Mark Anthony on guitar. And that combination of like old Kaiso with a rock guitar is for me innovation in Kaiso. Nikolai Salcedo, Gazette, is doing an amazing song. And we have 2 other young ladies that will be opening up for us, all with a Kaiso flavor, you know, because we want to emphasize that Kaiso flavor. With our departure from the Juve, we need to give it a little rest for at least a year.
At least a year,
At least a year.
Well,
Catch back myself.
I know lots of people are going to be following up on that. Now, these are a lot of acts as well, and we know that when you'll take the stage, it's all over. So how long is the runtime for this? It's not
long so far, because in terms of the music on paper, by the first act of our music is less than half hour.
Okay.
But the band does start to fluff it out already, so it will be a little bit more, you know. So we have some acting, then we have the acts.
Okay.
Then we have a little more acting, then we have us, and that first bit should take an hour, then we have a 15-minute break, and then 45 minutes we down the road. So all told, 2 hours and some.
Very good. So we've been talking about the fact, of course, as you mentioned, this 3Canal is Kaiso as well, the Kaiso flavor in every single thing. Was there a particular point in time that the decision came that, all right, we're going to do Kaiso specifically?
I can't say a particular point in time. We've always flirted with the idea. We've always we have a song called Run the Rhythm, which has a King Radio hook in it. Is the rhythm we want, that comes straight from King Radio from 1930-something. So always listening to old Calypso and being informed by it. We did Irie Tempo as a remake. We did Umba Yao as a remake. So that whole idea of Calypso has always been something we flirted with, getting to work with Stalin, getting to sing Caribbean Man a couple times over the years. You know, that Kaiso vibe is always there within us. So now that you see my little beard getting gray and thing, you know, so now that we reach a certain age set, you know, it's like, yo, we can be pelting that at a bois right through.
I mean, you could.
Yeah, well, we still pelting one or two bois in between, but not right through.
Right through.
So we got to shift some gears, find some different textures, find different spaces. You know, as I say, talking with rockers, we like to talk about, you know, where the swing is, why does everything feel pam, 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 frenetic. When one of my things is I think the power of our music is in the sweetness of it. You know, when you think about old Baron, you can't get sweeter than that, you know?
Of course not.
And the Baron tunes will play forever and ever and ever, you know? So I am always like, where do we find back that sweetness? Because at one point we start running, the islands was always and we started running down that.
Yeah.
So now we have power. But for me, the groovy, what we now call groovy, that's always, look at the songs that blowing up right now.
Yeah.
You know?
This year you're seeing it.
Yeah. I mean, the power will take a hold of you because as the season intensifies, you know, the energy builds and you there. It has to be because you ain't want to groove across the stage, do you?
It's all about groovy love, though. That's what I will say.
I like the groovies myself, but nobody want to groove across the stage.
Okay. Fairly given. We will groove across the stage, if anything. Where can we get tickets, Wendall?
Tickets, all right, yeah. Queen's Hall box office. Big Black Box from 12 to 6 every day. Big Black Box has a box office there. islandetickets.com, of course. 3canal.tt. That leads you straight to Island E-Tickets. Or you could, you come down to the Black Box, go up to Queen's Hall, Island E-Tickets, and you get your tickets there.
And the shows are started at the same time every night?
Show starts at 7:30 p.m. every night. So we kick off on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. every night. 3Canal, opening acts, brand new band, you know. It's all good. It
is all good, and we are looking forward to it. Before we close our conversation, any closing comments for Trinidad and Tobago and the world?
Oh, and the world too.
And the world too.
Oh, in this moment, I'm actually stumped for words. And I just want to say, you know, I always take the time to say, everybody, it's carnival time. This is a special time of the year for many people. Some could put it into words, many just don't. They just put it into a feeling. And that feeling is an indescribable feeling and a precious feeling, and it is worth something. But we also have to ensure that, you know, all are involved. Because when I look at the carnival, I'm not seeing all involved except in Pan. So big up to Pan, especially with the youths and them. Yeah, bless.
Well, thank you so much.
Happy Carnival.
Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure, as always, and looking forward to seeing you all on stage this coming week. Don't want to miss 3Canal Kaiso show happening at Queen's Hall. Stay tuned because it's Tuesday, which means Shamla is coming up right after this. You with Unique Non-Difference.